Community School Corporation to order. We are meeting in regular session. Today, August 19th, this meeting is a meeting of the school board in public for the purpose of conducting the school corporation's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There will be time for public participation as indicated on the agenda. The meeting site is fully accessible, and any person requiring further accommodation should contact the superintendent at the school corporation's central office. Would you lead us in the pledge, Mr. Klauser?
Sure. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. All board members are present, so we do have a quorum. Mission statement.
Lebanon Community School Corporation challenges everyone every day to reach a new best.
Thank you. Now we need to approve the minutes from our July 15th regular meeting. Can I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Klauser. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Superintendent's announcements and celebrations.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. Just off the bat, just wanted to thank everyone for a great start. We always have some beginning of the year hiccups, of course, every school year, but it was great to be able to open 3 elementaries for their finished with their renovations and or construction. And I also want to thank our community that comes out and helps welcome the students on their first day, and community that joined us for our ribbon cuttings and groundbreaking ceremonies also around the beginning of the school year. So just thanks them and to our staff. See John Triller in the audience, want to thank him, and the building and grounds staff, food service, our clerical staff, all the folks who make this place run on a daily basis, and of course our teachers and administrators. So again, just wanted to thank them. Second, just a brief enrollment update. Of course, you know, we don't certify our enrollment with the state of Indiana until about the first week of October, but we are trending upward again. It's hard to pinpoint exactly. We're still in that withdrawal enrollment stage. But looking back at our demographic study and Dr. McKibben's forecast for us, at this point we're running within 10 students of Dr. McKibben's forecast, and so we're seeing that, continue to see that upward trend, and we'll give you more details, of course, at the September and October meeting, when October meeting will be your final number on that. Wanted to thank our partners at Boone County Health Department. They have launched a program called Tackle Tobacco, and Boone County All In is the tag line with that. Our middle school and high school are joining with them to promote healthy choices for our students, tackling, of course, not just tobacco products, but the vaping products, et cetera. At the middle school, there's 3 separate, we'll call them assemblies or classroom presentations with 6th, 7th, and 8th grade with the health department presenting those. The high school is doing some campaigns here at the high school as well. And then the WeBo, our opening game with WeBo, has been dubbed the Tackle Tobacco game. And so if students participate in this program and they come in their Tackle Tobacco t-shirt, they get a free entrance to the game. So we're just doing what we can to promote healthy choices, and we appreciate, as always, our partnership with the health department and thank them for that partnership. Wanted to also congratulate Mr. Matt Farrell, our STEM teacher at Harney Elementary, who is named a Final 8 finalist for State Teacher of the Year. Mr. Farrell will be going to the state capitol this Thursday here in a couple days. He will have to do an in-person presentation and interview, and they will select 3 finalists from this round, and those finalists would meet with Secretary Jenner, Secretary of Education, and then the committee will come to each of the schools, the 3 finalist schools, and make a final determination here in the next month or so. We have had now 2 finalists at this round. Mr. Josh DeBard, social studies teacher here at the high school, made it into the final 3 in 2022. So we've had 2 at this round. Mr. Farrell's still going, and Abby Warren, kindergarten teacher at Central, was in the top 20 last year. So within the last 4 years, we've had 3 teachers at Lebanon Community School Corporation in the top 20 or 8 or 3 in the state of Indiana. So something to be proud of, and we appreciate all they do for our students, and we wish him the best of luck, of course. Also received word via email from USA Today. You may be aware that USA Today does a kind of a ranking system, if you will, of schools across the country. Lebanon High School in their 2024 list was in the top 40% of the high schools across the country, and we are in the top 20% of public high schools in Indiana. So we'll be celebrating that a little bit more. You'll see coming up in the near future as well. And that's all I have. Congratulations, of course, to our staff, elementary through high school, that make those types of things possible. So that's all I have with my announcements today.
Thank you. It's very exciting.
Oh, I do have one more. Before this meeting this evening, we just held our budget workshop, and I wanted to, you weren't an afterthought, Mr. Dennis, this really was on my agenda. I wanted to thank our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations for his efforts. Mr. Dennis has a great way of making a very complex school finance portfolio, if you will, or process, understandable and digestible to the public and to the board. It's been great to work with him. He's brought in professional partners that we have not had in the past with his experience with them, and that helps us with our analytics and helps us make good decisions that have put us on this good financial footing. So I just wanted to congratulate him for a job well done and recognize him as well. Now I am done with my announcements.
Yes, definitely, Mr. Dennis. We are able to understand almost everything you presented, I think, so very good. School construction renovation update.
Thank you, and thank you, Dr. Milliman, for those kind words. And I'd like to project now, hopefully, a potential future vendor that we hope to work with. As we have rolled out some finished spaces as a result of student construction or school construction, we purposefully left spaces plain. Absolutely, within a bid package, you can purchase signage and branding, and you can open spaces with that branding present, but sometimes through those bid processes, kind of what you ultimately want could potentially get left behind through some legalese in those bid packages. And so the plan always was to kind of put the icing on the cake of some of these new spaces and really make them pop with a design partner. And so early this year we began a district-wide branding process and followed the RFP process, advertised it, received 3 submissions as a part of this process, and ultimately scored them and landed on a vendor that I will bring to the board later this evening in our action items to approve their design agreement to begin formal design of district-wide branding at all of our locations. And that vendor is Signworks. 2 of their representatives, including their CEO, is here this evening, who happens to be a Lebanon graduate. And what I appreciate about them is the zest and motivation they had to get something in front of you from a design perspective. What you're going to see is not necessarily what we ultimately may pick. I will say, as I look at some of these, I definitely hope that we end up doing some of these things, but they really wanted to show off what their ideas were for our district branding. And so I've got 14 slides here to show of what we hope to receive upon completion of this design, signage, and branding project. And so what you're looking at is the rendering of our Student Activity Center. Those walls are up now. They look like gray concrete. If you get close enough to them, you'll notice brick imprints into them, and it's going to be painted, and it will look like brick exactly as you see in this rendering right here. But what is not bought in the project is that half of a tiger head out to the left and that stationary block L in front. But that is kind of the entrance to our athletic facilities. In the fall, that would be football games. In the spring, of course, track and field. And certainly in the winter, as we have basketball games, whether that be freshman or JV in the field house. But certainly a bit of pop as you round Outer Drive and pull into our parking lot. Moving forward, we have a rendering of kind of our new crossroads at this facility and the entrance to our cafeteria. And what's neat about this project, and it doesn't really reflect well in what you're seeing, is the three-dimensional aspects of this. A lot of vendors, I think, can print vinyl and adhere it to a wall. But the three-dimensional and lighting aspects that their design concepts bring, I think, bring a lot of extra attention and impact to spaces that I think is crucial. And so whether we choose to put Tiger Fuel or not above the cafeteria, I don't know, but the ability to do that, and then the lighting there, the yellow lighting that you see, I think is a really interesting concept for the entrance to our cafeteria. The middle school is one of the finished spaces that I appreciate the work to include. None of what you see right now necessarily is present at the middle school in that rendering. So that gold band just below the clear story, if you look real hard, you could potentially not see the signage that they've incorporated into the windows in that clear story. There's a big opportunity right when you walk in to have a big impact on this kind of bare bulkhead area right here. And then also don't miss the Lebanon Middle School at the very bottom right here. That will be a display case eventually, but a really cool place to add some dimensional lettering, acrylic lettering there for some three-dimensional aspect. If you get closer to this, it's very interesting where you put some signage, but you can look at the ceiling here and the letters LMS in the lighting there. Just an interesting idea that, again, the layperson would probably not even know is possible. Our new STEM spaces in the middle school, those students probably feel a bit like fish in an aquarium right now. Always and will be the first project that I would task SignWorks with is to get something on those windows to provide some opportunities for less distraction, we'll say, for the students inside those classrooms, as well as not incentivize students walking by to distract those inside of those classrooms. But applying different colors to those, still some opacity so you can see what's inside, but certainly much less distracting for folks that walk in. There's another bulkhead just past our media center, and again, these phrases I think are fantastic suggestions. Whether we choose them or not, I don't know, but just showing where signage can be placed, I think, is crucial. Going the other way and looking out the exit, another opportunity presents itself to place some signage to increase some attractiveness to these spaces. Inside our new media center, again, you'll see some window treatments as well for our small group spaces that we have. This is what's really neat. This is what Harney looks like right now. The ability to add wayfinding inside of our elementary schools. And so when we have back to school night, you don't have to guess where the first grade hallway is or the second grade hallway is. But doing that in an area that fills up the entire space from the wainscoting up to the top, a lot of times these are just signs on a wall as opposed to, full-length pieces such as this. You can look down the hallway here. We have our little tiger head because there's a big space down there. Very interesting. Here's our middle school, same wayfinding template, which I appreciate this approach as well because we've shared with the board multiple times how the finishes are very similar at all of our schools. It gives us the opportunity to have attic stock. If we have to replace a carpet square at one elementary school, they're at every elementary school. So having this here, very long hallway in our middle school. These gold bands on the walls and on the floor are not there currently, but breaking up the length of this hallway, just interesting concepts. And then all of our elementary schools have this wall behind our front office staff that greets any visitors that we have. And so applying this time our Tiger Cub, not our athletic tiger, but our Tiger Cub, as well as, this is Harney obviously, but that space exists everywhere. And then our torch here, an interesting little column wrap to what we have present in those spaces. Also, every elementary school has this bulkhead over its new stage, filling that space up with something to provide some visual interest is interesting. And then just a bit of an indication of what window vinyl. So Andy or Tom, not sure if you all want to say anything, but certainly appreciate putting this together for us tonight. And
I don't know if I can do better than what you've already done.
okay, fair enough.
What we chose to do, I am Andy Chapman. I graduated from Lebanon High School in '86. We ended up going to IU for computer graphic design and business degree. And I was really excited about this. We wanted to make sure we put our best foot forward. And we were 2 blocks away from here. And it was one of those where if we didn't get it, that would have been a real. We really wanted to make sure we won this one. So we've also asked for permission to amplify the brand guide. We've got some additional fonts and some other things. And what you're not seeing is we've identified some other fuzzy, more friendly K through 5 fonts. And so our goal is to typically when you do K through 5 for us, and by the way, if I can back up, we're almost 35-year-old company that's growing like crazy and having a lot of fun. The past few years, we've acquired another company this year and joined Superpowers, and so there's nothing we can't do from 100 foot with cranes to big environments. And so we really enjoy it, but we really excel in the K through 12 range and also D1 sports. We were called into a lot of places, mega churches, stadiums. We just finished up with the arena out at Noblesville. We did the entire brand from soup to nuts, from the ceilings to the floors for the boom, and had a lot of fun doing that. So this was fun to kind of just give you guys some markers. You did a great job, by the way. I didn't know what I would have said better, honestly, about how what we chose to do as well. But there's just some things that we're doing as it relates to K through 5. Is we'll usually keep the graphics looking K through 5, but middle school sometimes our design intent is to make it look like high school, and then high school we tend to look like college. And whenever we have D1, we usually make those like pros. So one step above, we usually try to keep K through 5 focused on where they are, but just one step above those other ranges, just allow kids to just feel like it's just a slightly more sophisticated looking brand. But we're open to any suggestions. These are just markers. These are just something we want to put in front of you, and want to hear all your input, feedback, and you guys are going to have to look at it way longer than us. So we wanted to make sure that it looks cool and fun and playful, and just really want to put a mark on the school any way we can help you guys.
Any
So
questions?
what I heard is the Student Activity Center will be done by next week's home game, right?
Apologize. Questions from the board for myself and Mr. Chapman? Again, just a design agreement coming to the board in action items. We'll talk a little bit about what the budget could be for that, but just kind of depends on where design takes us. Mr. Martin, do I have to let go, or can you take it back from me? That's okay. Do I have to let go of this, or do you just take it back from me? The screen mirroring?
Mel takes care of it.
Oh, Mel, I'm sorry.
You can take care of it.
Thank you.
From a budgeting, real quick, from a budgeting standpoint, how is this?
Yeah, so built into the 2024 authorization that I think a lot of times we think of and does support the high school and Central Elementary, but factored into the budget for that particular issuance. And bond counsel certainly is incredibly confident that applying those dollars to district-wide locations is well within the project description.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. First reading policy update, Dr. Milliman.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. We have the policies as well as a handy list for the board, because there are several for you this evening. Most of these are to reflect some new language from Indiana Code, especially when it comes to mandatory curriculum, things of that nature. There is a policy in here, 2 policies related to school board governance. They are items with the consent agenda and executive session. Those reflect board's ability to add certain things to executive session per July 1st with Indiana Code. We'll be bringing another batch to you of first reading along with the second reading of these next meeting, but I'd be happy to answer any questions that you might have about the policies.
There appears to be a couple that are just totally rescinding the whole entire piece. Is
Yeah.
that again because they're being integrated
Yeah,
somewhere else?
exactly, redundancy, et cetera. And of course, in the future, we have I've spoken to some of you individually about potentially looking at some other policy manual options. That is still on the table. I'll be putting together for the board kind of a side-by-side comparison for why that recommendation may be coming down the pike. You may be asking, why are we updating all of these policies if we are entertaining a potential different policy vendor down the road? I think it's good to have these batches updated, because if we decide to transition to a different policy vendor, we would archive our policies currently, likely in a PDF form during that transition time. So your current board-approved policies would always be available to the public through the process of the switchover. And we had as you know, this was a very busy legislative session related to schools. There were a lot of policies that were affected. So I think it's good for us to go through these, go ahead and let this policy manual reflect those changes. We would still have, it's going to be about a 2-year process if we change over. So it's good to have updated policies in front of the public. So maybe just anticipating future questions the board may have about that as well. But happy to answer any questions about this batch of policies if you have any.
Anybody have any questions? Okay. Thank you. Consent agenda, business matters, financial update, Mr. Dennis.
Nope. Is it
Nope.
me first?
Oh,
Oh, it's me first.
okay, you
Staff
first.
matters. Yep, you got it right first time. We will go to classified staff first, asking for approval of new hires 1132 through 1157, resignations 1158 through 1167, and returning hires 11, did I say that right? Returning hires 1168 through 1170. I think I should have said 1167, yes, on the resignations. For our certified staff this evening, thankfully a smaller list as school has started, so most of these were folks that we extended offers to prior to this board meeting. But first, 2 leaves of absence, 355 and 366. New hires 357 through 363, and resignation number 364. For extracurricular hires this evening, recommending new hires 1123 through 1129, and 2 resignations, 1130 and 1131.
Any questions about any of those? Can I have a motion to approve classified, certified, and ECA staff matters as presented?
Make a motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.
Before you go on, I would pause, if you do not mind. We have one of our ECA hires with us this evening. With your approval, we've hired a new men's basketball coach for Lebanon Tigers. We spent some time thanking Mr. Hendricks for his years of service recently at a board meeting, and certainly appreciate all of his efforts. I'd like to introduce Mr. Nick Hinojosa as our new boys basketball coach. He's here this evening. Coach, you want to come up and introduce yourself? Mr. Levine, any words that you'd like to do to introduce him as well? But it's an opportunity for the board to put Mr. Hinojosa on the spot. Hopefully not as badly as I did in our interview.
I just want to say I'm very excited to introduce to you Nick Hinojosa. Take me a while to get that, but tremendous guy, obviously coming from Monrovia with a tremendous amount of basketball knowledge and experience, and a tremendous work ethic, and very excited to not only have him as a basketball coach, but have him in the building as a special ed teacher, and it just adds to the culture of the program and everything, and so we're excited. He's really getting ready to roll, and I'll let him say a few words.
First off, I want to thank you guys for the opportunity. I could not tell you enough how excited I am to be the head coach of this program. I'm looking forward to carrying the tradition Coach Hendricks has passed along, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to meet the kids and get to the court and start working. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for the coach before he runs off?
I will tell you that of all the coaches, he was drilled by everybody in our panel meeting, but not only that, Dr. Milliman hit him with some unbelievable questions, and he was just on it, every one of them. I mean, just fantastic, so we're real excited.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Right, consent agenda business matters, financial update.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. As always, our month performance included, as well as our year-over-year performance through the end of this calendar year. Any questions the board may have, happy to answer those prior to reading the claims.
ahead.
Hearing none, then, ask the board's approval of 3 payrolls from 7/18, 8/1, and 8/15, totaling $2,152,151.88. Claims during that period for the month, and I will preface the board, these look high. Normally, we see numbers a little bit larger than this, but nonetheless large for a debt payment month. The reason that these look high is because there are construction payments included in this. So I'll remind the board that we receive 2 buckets of money when we execute a lease arrangement. Shared with the board during our budget session that we go to the market tomorrow to sell the next cash flow issuance for the middle school. From the 2024 issuance, where we received school corporation dollars and building corporation dollars, prior to making this month's payments, we are under $10 million worth of cash. And so I've instructed our accounts payable, rather than paying everything from building corporation dollars this month, let's go ahead and spend the remainder of the school corporation dollars. And when you do that, those appear on the docket. And so what you're seeing are construction payments here through our school corporation dollars that comes from selling the real estate to execute the lease function. That is one of the 2 mechanisms for debt in Indiana. So nothing to be alarmed at. It's just you're seeing construction payments here as we expend our remaining corporation dollars. But those claims totaled $5,297,798.41 for a total between the 2 of $7,449,950.29. Appreciate the board's consideration of those claims.
Can I have a motion to approve the payment and payroll claims as presented by Mr. Dennis?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Hendricks. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Clauser. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Thank you. Do we have no comments from the public? All right. Change orders. Mr. Dennis.
Take this opportunity to take a small dig at Meyer Najum here. They were busy with construction this summer and not paperwork. And so there is a vast quantity of change orders for this month. But what you are seeing is the beginning of the closeout process for the elementary schools. And so you're seeing a lot of negative numbers as we get a return of any unused allowance dollars that were not utilized under the specific prime contracts. So certainly are some positive change orders involved, but I think net for the month, certainly this is money back to the school corporation. And I would anticipate this closeout process to continue and ultimately conclude with Central, Perryworth, and Harney probably at the October board meeting is the goal, to have all closeouts done for that. And this document will shrink drastically as we can eliminate those 3 schools from this. Nothing alarming or noteworthy really from an unexpected or unaccounted for problem. We've shared with the board the issues that we ran into with the site work here, specifically with the Student Activity Center, and you're seeing some of that down at the high school with some relocation and some connections to some storm structures that were discovered as a part of the process, but certainly well within contingencies on the high school job and every other job at this point. But if there are specific questions about any of the change orders, happy to do so, but did want to address the quantity of them this month because, again, Mr. Luce admitted he got a little bit behind on paperwork.
As they look, there's still a lot of remaining allowance and contingency, which is good. Tells me that they're well under budget. when they are closed out, I would assume we'll have some type of just a original thought and what it actually came in at, so that then we can, just all of us know where it fell.
So I've instructed Ms. Asbury in my office, who has been very hands-on with the payments for this and the accounting, that I plan to supply the board, once closeouts are finished with each project, a breakdown of what the cost of prime construction was, what the cost of construction management was, what the cost of architecture and engineering was, FF&E for the furnitures, fixtures, can give the original budget for that as well. Also, along with that, as we get this money back, you might, okay, well, Zach, what do we do with this money when it comes back? For the elementary schools, it goes to Stokes. And everything that the referendum can handle for Stokes is what the middle school transportation project doesn't have to support. So going back to the project description for transportation in middle school, Hattie B. Stokes was specifically mentioned because we knew that the referendum would not be able to support Stokes in its entirety. As I look at it now, the referendum may be able to support upwards of 70%, if not more, of Stokes. And so those are dollars that, again, going to the market tomorrow, I'm planning on not issuing because the referendum dollars support that, as opposed to issuing another $5, $6, $7 million worth of bonds tomorrow. In fact, for the 2023 authorization, we are leaving $5.2 million on the table. We were authorized for 110. We will, as of tomorrow, have issued 104.8. So 5.2 million of that authorization will just be left untouched. We have access to that at any point in the future under current Indiana state law, as long as the project takes place at the middle school, transportation, Stokes, or it's minor enough that it could go elsewhere, which is a good problem to have for us in the future. But that's where these returned allowance dollars will be allocated to.
I just think it'd be good to show, because looking at what I see, we're well under budget, which is excellent.
Budgets and actuals.
Yeah, originals and, yeah, just original and final.
Sure.
Actual, yeah.
Can I have a motion to approve the change orders as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Parks. Second.
I'll second.
Thank you. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Banking service agreement for HSA employee contributions.
Thank you, Mrs. Hutchison. Really no money at all that Lebanon Community School Corporation will pay. This is just a new bank that will house our HSA accounts for our employees.
All right, can I have approval of the banking service agreement for HSA employee contributions?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. I will second. Any questions? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right. Mr. Dennis, interior signage design agreement.
Yes, next up is the design agreement with Signworks, as shared earlier in the board meeting. This is a $40,000 design agreement. That's what's being asked of the board this evening, and that releases Signworks to begin conversations with us and execute design. This is a design build agreement is how it works. Signworks is a one-stop shop. They design, manufacture, and install all of their signage, and so I'm sharing this as the signs will be more than the $40,000. They have, as part of their RFP response, given us a $20,000 credit. So should we execute signs and have them install, we will have, I guess, a $20,000 coupon. I guess we can think about it that way. I do want to share with the board that the estimated rough order of magnitude of the design and signage total will fall somewhere between $500,000 to $1 million when you talk about the project throughout the district. As Mr. Klauser brought up, that is budgeted as a part of the high school and central authorization. That was a $65 million authorization that is placed in the budget. There was a spot for that. So sharing kind of the full story of where we go with this. Tonight, however, is just $40,000 for them to design.
Yeah, got it.
I didn't ask this before. Will this include external wayfinding as well on our across our campuses and on our campuses?
Not this one.
Okay.
Not this one.
Any other questions? All right, can I have a motion to approve the interior signage design agreement for $40,000 as presented?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, exciting. Look forward to seeing some stuff.
Do we have a time frame on that?
I should have asked.
How fast can you work? I'd like to get those window treatments at the middle school done soon.
We can phase certain projects and move really quickly on individual isolated projects. We can move really quickly.
Perfect.
We have to deal with event-driven deadlines a lot, so
Sure.
we're 15 minutes away, so.
Good deal. Strataline agreement.
So really, these next two action items go hand in hand. So here is the culmination of our energy study, how we utilize energy, opportunities for energy conservation measures. Mr. McKinney is back tonight to answer any questions the board may have really about his contract or Verigy's, which would be the contractor executing the energy conservation measures. So what I'll present in the first action item is the approval of Strataline's construction manager as agent agreement. So basically, Strataline will be our Meyer Najum for the energy conservation project. Upon approval of that, I will share the details once more with the board of what the energy conservation project includes with Verigy. So unless we want to do those in reverse and do Verigy first and Strataline second, we can talk about what the project is before approving the construction management of that project. Really, it's a pleasure of the board there. I'd be happy to.
Does anybody have a preference?
Could we hear about hear about the second one, and then we can still vote
Sure.
in the order it is, but, yeah.
So let's just recap what the project is. So what the project in front of the board is this evening represents over $17 million of savings to the operations fund from avoided energy costs, as well as a small solar credit due to the small amount of solar associated with that project. Our energy conservation measures are as follows. We have virtual energy management at all locations. So what virtual energy management entails is placing a meter, a non-invasive meter. No pipes are cut, nothing like that. And it meters electrical usage, water usage, and natural gas usage at any given time. And it relays information to inform us of how the building is utilizing energy and how it can utilize energy more wisely. It's a big part of the savings of this project, but in terms of the least invasive, virtual energy management would be it. Next would be rooftop solar arrays at Central Elementary, New Central Elementary. So let me rephrase that, not at the two of them. Just at New Central Elementary, Harney Elementary, and the admin center, where our office currently is. The strategy behind that is we want to put them there and leave them alone. And those are our three newest roofs that are under warranty for the next 20 years. And shy of springing an unexpected leak, there will be nobody on those roofs or the need to replace those roofs and take down the solar panels and put them back up. We want to place those solar panels and leave them. The reason that solar is minimal on this is the solar rates or the rates provided by Lebanon Utilities are not what we would call necessarily solar-friendly rates. There are certainly opportunities for savings at these three locations, but you may ask, why not everywhere? Rates are not as friendly for solar generation that we have on our buildings through Lebanon Utilities. We have a boiler replacement at the middle school and Old Central. Okay, so new preschool, new admin that are at end of life and are similar to a 20-year-old truck you may have in maintenance costs versus having a new one. The big savings come from electrical cogeneration in the form of microturbines at Lebanon Middle School and Lebanon High School. That is where we will utilize natural gas to generate electricity. The heat from that natural gas generation at the high school will be utilized to warm our swimming pool, our competition swimming pool. So that will no longer require the heater at our swimming pool. We will utilize the off product of heat from electrical generation with that microturbine, and that will also serve as reheat for our HVAC system here. I've learned throughout this process that technically, and folks may disagree with me for the first few days of school here, but technically commercial chillers produce too cold of air. and it actually has to be warmed up a tad before you send it to, it's called reheat. So you're actually firing your boilers in August, which seems counterintuitive because you think that you would use building heat. But that is what will take place with the microturbines as well as the high school, and at the middle school. We don't have a pool at the middle school, so the reheat will be utilized at the middle school as well. We're going to replace a VAV box. Think of that as just a small air handler, a fan that moves air at Harney Elementary that is at end of life. We'll do a full retro commissioning of all of our building controls. So what that means is we will have a vendor come in, and that vendor will basically analyze whether the actuators and the louvers are open when our controls say they're open, because sometimes they'll say they're closed when they're open. And I was at Harney Elementary for back to school night, and there was a particular wing at Harney that was hot, and it was because we were pulling in outside air at 85 degrees. Well, our controls at that time said that louver was closed. So there can be some miscommunication at times. Now that was fixed that evening, but getting an idea of how your building controls accuracy prevents a lot of unneeded energy waste. Now, in terms of the cost of the project, so the contract that I'm presenting to the board for Verigy this evening, the cost of these energy conservation measures, $11,501,674. That includes year 1 through 5. So once this project reaches substantial completion, a 5-year clock starts. All the preventative maintenance for everything I just mentioned is included in the price that I just read off. Years 6 through 20, and the reason 20 is important is because statutorily, guaranteed energy savings contracts have to pay themselves off in 20 years. Ours does it in 17, but they have to stay with us through years 20. So years 6 through 20, that amount will be placed in escrow. And this is an agreement that LCSC and Verigy have reached. That amount is $896,148. So at substantial completion, that amount of operations fund cash will be placed in an escrow account where it will sit untouched for 5 years. At the end of those 5 years, and to pay for year 6, 1/15 of that amount will go to Verigy to perform year 6 of preventative maintenance. All the interest accrued to that point will be split 50-50 between us and Verigy. And that same process will take place in year 7, 8, 9, 10, all the way through 20. At current escrow rates, that will result in an interest return to LCSC of $132,887. That will be returned on our original $896. I mentioned earlier that the other part of the savings was the solar credit that survived the big beautiful bill. There was talk that all of those credits for solar would be eliminated if you weren't under contract at a certain time. We still qualify to receive those. That credit is equivalent to $618,630 that will be deposited right back into the operations fund. So when you add the interest earned over the lifetime of that escrow account and that solar credit, we recover 73% of our cost of years 6 through 20. What we could do is not include years 6 through 20 in the agreement. But at that point then, we still have to service this infrastructure. With CPI and the cost to provide service, I'm recommending to the board that we include that because we know what our cost is right now and we're immune to CPI changes. Basically, the vendor here, Verigy, is saying, I'll lock in your maintenance for years 6 through 20 for this amount right now. If you don't, we'll still service it. However, I can't promise what that cost is going to be in 2045 for year 20 of the deal. Furthermore, this infrastructure lasts beyond 20 years. Solar panels, for example, are guaranteed for 25 years. So we experience savings in years 21 through 25. Again, it ends at 20 because statutorily in Indiana, these guaranteed energy savings contracts are 20 years in length. So that is the project, and that is what the contract for Verigy reads.
So the preventative maintenance, what's included in that?
Mr. McKinney?
Great question.
Do you think we should have him come up?
Yeah, why don't you come on up?
So for the preventative maintenance, which also includes, I guess in that bucket, there's full-service warranties on the equipment. So you have microturbines. A microturbine could fail. It certainly would have to be rebuilt after a certain amount of run hours. That's all included in the preventive maintenance bucket. In addition to that, the contractor is required to monitor on a daily basis each of your energy conservation measures, primarily the microturbines and the solar, to check for any faults, any interruptions in the production of electricity, any decline in production that deviates over a certain percent from what is modeled, so they can repair it and you can achieve your savings. They're held to a service contract. If any of the service or solar equipment would require replacement, an inverter fails, that would be replaced by the contractor. So it is truly a full, what we would call a full service agreement, where the school does not have to spend any dollars on replacement or repair or maintenance.
Yeah, I guess I'll be the ever skeptic of having been burnt by guaranteed savings types of contracts before, and where the systems are so complex and then they go awry, and the cost of bringing them out for repair is well above the costs of savings, any type of energy saving. So that it's always a concern of mine. What is included in a preventive maintenance? Because we would always get the, well, that's not PM, that's just a, and then it would take a long time to chase down the manufacturer to actually get the warranty figured out while you're sitting here having to pay out of pocket. So it's always a concern of mine. Between that and then the systems being so complex, what's being done to train our staff to be able to operate those systems?
Can you share a little bit about what Verigy does in terms, especially with the virtual energy management, in terms of their oversight of that versus what our oversight would need to be?
Yeah, absolutely. And I just came from a board meeting this morning. They're considering a similar install, similar concerns. So they're very valid. And again, our job is to hear your concerns and make sure you don't make an investment into something that is going to cost you down the road. I mean, we're agnostic from vendor and product. So it's a good concern, and it's one that I want to make sure you guys do understand before you move forward. So back to the virtual energy management. That is monitored, as I mentioned, on a daily basis by Verigy. The intent from the very beginning, and it is this way with all school corporations that we engage with, the maintenance staff does not have the capacity to take on additional work. And so when we hear from vendors what they want to provide you or provide as a solution to the data that we've given them during an RFP process, one of the litmus tests is, how does this impact the maintenance staff? And so they are now a partner of your maintenance staff, whereas during their monitoring, they will notify the staff of issues in mechanical equipment that Mr. Triller may not have known about, so they can go service a boiler or a chiller or all of the equipment that is monitored by their, it monitors all of your mechanical equipment. With regards to solar and microturbines, the biggest risk to the school corporation, and hence the escrow, was twofold. One was inflation of a service agreement. So you got 5 years covered, great. What happens in year 10? You know, how do we know how much service will cost? And the way the contractor proposed to mitigate that was to prepay. Well, what if the contractor goes out of business? And so we wanted the escrow agreement in control of the school corporation. So if they don't perform, if they go out of business, there are other people that could perform that work. Yes, it could cost more, but there would be your funds, and those would be protected to some extent. Your attorney, working with our staff, was very diligent in making sure there weren't loopholes where that's not covered. Oh, that's not covered. It is a full service agreement where the microturbine. Let's just talk about the complexity of the technology. It is a air-bearing microturbine designed to run for 100,000 hours without service. and that's guaranteed by the manufacturer. Capstone is a very large manufacturer. They've been around a long time. Could it fail? 100%, yes, it could fail. What's important is we have a contingency plan, and that contingency plan is funded. As far as complexity of its operation, it's very similar to any generator. Its byproduct of heat is piped through just a standard pipe into your boiler system that's already existing. So it's not overly complex. There's not a lot of moving parts. And then with regards to solar, we would, whether you do a 20-year maintenance agreement or the first 5, we would encourage, even if Mr. Triller had capacity and was trained to maintain that asset, we would encourage you to have it monitored and maintained by a third party. It extends the life, it protects your warranties, and it's somewhat, from a time standpoint, fairly minimal. We're talking about quarterly site reviews and annual maintenance to the inverters, to the devices that convert your electricity from DC to AC. So we do try to mitigate the risk with regards to any unexpected costs in a project, and we feel we have captured the ones that have been anticipated with regards to the scope of this project.
Can you remind the board where Vergy is located?
Vergy has 2 offices in Indianapolis, one off of 465 in Wayne Township, and they also have one at 82nd Street and I-69 at Keystone, or Castleton.
So the old airport, basically.
They're across the street from the old airport. Mm-hmm.
And they're self-performing all this maintenance. So this agreement's not with an LLC, in Virginia. I mean, getting them out to provide the maintenance that they have, they're 20 minutes down the road. And we execute this contract tonight, and we don't experience the savings that they're guaranteeing. What happens?
Yeah, so there's, I guess, 2 things that I wouldn't trust someone that's guaranteeing me savings to give me a report on what we're saving. And so they are responsible to provide you with a report by statute. We will, using the energy dashboard you're installing, and there are meters placed, so we are measuring the actual energy generated by your solar field and by your microturbines. We're measuring the savings by your virtual energy management system with actual meters. So these are metered savings. If those savings that have been calculated are not achieved, the contractor is required to write a check for the shortfall. And frankly, I have not experienced a project where there's been a shortfall, but they do happen. And what I would like to see on top of that, and the contract affords this opportunity for Vergy, it'd be cheaper for them to write you a check and then rectify the issue if it was misengineered, so they don't write you a check for the next 19 years.
Other questions?
In the maintenance agreement, is there a responsive time written into it? Because that was another issue I had with people just down the road.
So you mean call to, like,
Days.
days coming back? So I don't know necessarily if the agreement
I
has
will
that.
check. It does. I don't recall the time. It was 24 or 48 hours. There is self-motivation. If an inverter goes down and you're not generating electricity for a third of a solar plant, it costs Vergy money. So they are
They
highly motivated to get
shortfall
out
and
here.
write us a check at the end of the year, basically. I get, that's what I'm, when you say they're motivated,
Yep.
it's because if they
They
have
have
an
a
inverter
guarantee.
down.
Their rear end is on the line.
They're not gonna hit their guarantee.
Mhm.
Right.
Any other questions or comments?
What's the term, or what's the length of time before we start seeing actual recovery from this? I guess in terms of when we start, when we pass that threshold of we're paying, the cost, when do we actually start seeing that return in savings?
So the return is immediate in the operations fund. So this is funded through debt, and it's part of the bonds that are being issued tomorrow morning. So immediately in the operations fund upon the commissioning of the systems, which will be phased in. And year one, remind me, Bob, does not start until every energy conservation measure is in place. Is that accurate?
As far as warranty goes,
Okay.
but if I don't have the schedule in front of me, but if in June of next year they've completed the installation of your microturbine at your high school, you will start saving money.
Right. So those savings will begin immediately in the operations fund. So when we talk about the increasing utility expenses, as soon as the 2026 budget, the increases that we have seen in the last 3 years could be shaved.
I think Jordan was asking more of when this expenditure outgo, when will we be in the positive? What year do we see ourselves net?
17.3? Is
Well, I think there's, in just overall,
So effectively, the full term of the contract, though,
Yeah,
before,
we're about to spend between your contract and the construction contract, what, $12.5 million or something?
Yes,
like that?
yes.
When will we see $12.5 million? When
Yeah.
will $12.5 million of savings be
realized.
realized,
Sure.
cumulative?
And I'm just pulling their contract up, Bob, because that's in their contract, right? Year-by-year savings.
I believe it's 17 point X years.
I mean, 17.3 is when the full balance is recovered at that point. Now, in those years, you're increasing, obviously, the savings once everything is in place at most. So when you allow then the final 3 years at that point, that's when you capture the final $5-6 million. Because again, the savings between the 3 respondents that were considered on this RFP, the total savings to the operations fund is $17.3 million at that point. And so when you think about how long it takes then to recover the 11.5 plus the $900,000 worth of escrow, so call it, right, 12.4, year 17 is when we overcome
Actually
that.
start getting into the positives.
In terms of the net.
Right.
The mechanism here is the opportunity we have in the debt service fund and the capacity that our AV has afforded us, whereas the ability to raise revenue in the operations fund is non-existent. We are capped at 4% every year. With the impending credit loss, we are literally talking about a levy increase of less than $200,000 next year in the operations fund of new revenue. So it's the ability to shift the burden of expense to the debt service fund to experience cost mitigation in the operations fund.
That answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay.
So if we know what that is, this is gonna go, then why don't we just go do a normal construction project that's not guaranteed savings, that's just, we pay for the equipment? I mean, I don't, does it make, I just always question with these things, if they're gonna be capturing money because it's savings, right? They're gonna say, we're gonna get a pot of the savings for you, versus us just going out through normal construction management system or construction management project. We'd realize 100% of those savings by doing this.
Verigy has no stake in our savings.
They just get
They're just saying we
50%.
are gonna save that
Yeah,
much.
they're getting 50%. Is that what you said?
Well, that's the escrow, that's interest on the escrow account. That's interest earnings. But from what you shared, it made me think you thought what we save, they have a stake in. They receive part of our savings. The last money Verigy is gonna receive to us is when we hit substantial completion on the installation, and then obviously 1/15 of the principal of that escrow account to pay for their annual maintenance. The savings is all ours.
You can procure, if I understand your question correctly, the scope that was developed by our company, that scope could be taken to an architect and engineering firm, and then that can be taken to the street, and you can have a contractor bid on that. I'm guessing the cost would be equal to or a little greater than the process we just went through. And you still would, if they met the standards we designed to, you still would achieve savings. And it's really a function of the client's comfort level. We have a client doing that right now. They had cash on hand and they just wanted to go through a procurement style they were comfortable with. And so they just don't have the guarantee.
But that's the sole difference at this point is we're backed by the guarantee.
Correct.
Whereas if you were to procure this in the method of your other client that you just mentioned, if those benchmarks aren't hit, it's just, I'm sorry.
Correct. They're still doing the maintenance agreement. I mean,
Right.
you've got to pay attention to these assets, so you're not going to save the money.
So I guess, Mr. Parks, at that, the question would be, is it cheaper to procure it in that way? What, the difference, I guess, is what's the cost and the guarantee that is in the contract, if any?
Yeah, I don't know, it just, the whole guaranteed savings end up, I've seen again costing, in the long term, not really realizing all those guarantees but I have reservations about it, yeah.
The one-time payment that you discussed covers it for 17 or the 20 years?
So which one time?
The 12, what'd you say, 12.5? Is that what I heard?
The 12.5 gets us 20 gets us the assets, 20 years of maintenance, and they stick with us through the guarantee. Their calculations show that the project pays for itself at 17.
Okay.
It's either 17 years and a month or 17.3
So the
years.
12 and a half covers everything for 20 years?
Soup's nuts.
Okay.
Plus interest earnings on that escrow account.
And the warranties on this equipment is less than that 17 years though, right?
No, it's a full-service 20-year warranty.
Bumper to bumper, everything.
Everything. And so can we just break that down? I mean, I just want to make sure you understand and feel comfortable. So let's go equipment by equipment. On the inverters, the contractor is buying a 20-year warranty with the manufacturer. Manufacturer goes out of business. Now we're looking at contractor. Contractor is responsible for replacing it. It is that way for your microturbines. A 20-year warranty with Capstone is being purchased. Verigy is the backstop to that. Verigy has in-house service for all of the above. So they will be servicing, they have mechanical and electrical service technicians that will be servicing, and they're certified to service those generators, the inverters, the solar panels. But the manufacturer's warranty has been purchased, or will have been purchased. So it is a true 20-year warranty. But there is also in your maintenance agreement with Verigy, requirements, as Capstone put on them for your microturbines, for example. They do require a rebuild in year 10. That will take place. We actually found it was cheaper for Verigy, and whether they choose to do this or not, to acquire those, a second set of those microturbines instead of rebuilding them in year 10 and store them. And whether they do that or not, I don't know. But yeah, so you really have the manufacturer's warranty, and then you have Verigy backing the manufacturer's warranty and making sure that the required service takes place for 20 years.
Any other questions or comments? Well, I appreciate the discussion. I think it's good that this is a large amount of money, so it's good that we're talking through this. Do you have anything else, Mr. Dennis? No. Okay. We will take these separately then. Can I have a motion to approve the agreement with Strataline?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Clauser. Any other discussion or questions? Okay. All in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, Thank you. And our second is approval of the agreement with Verigy as presented. Can I have a motion to make that approval?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, and I will second. Any other discussion or questions about that? All right, all in favor say aye.
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 Anyone opposed? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Lease extension with Blue Door Capital.
This is the facility that Joint Services has historically, I shouldn't say historically, for the last year been residing within. When Joint Services dissolved and we brought special education on board locally, that didn't alleviate our need for office space. Mr. Salzman, our director, Ms. Pitcock, our assistant director, and their administrative assistant have no office space. So it made sense to continue this lease. And so this represents the lease with Joint Services was in force through February of '26. This extends it an additional 6 months through August until Central Elementary is renovated and all of our district offices will be there. So this is really about a need of not having office space for our special education staff. They are there currently. This just gives us time to complete the renovation at Central.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion to approve the lease extension with Blue Door Capital?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second?
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, thank you. Motion passes. Resolution to authorize transfer to rainy day fund.
Spoke earlier at the budget presentation regarding the rainy day fund. There's been no activity in the rainy day fund for the last 3 years. What is before you this evening is to transfer $1 million of cash from the operations fund into the rainy day fund, $751,000 of which is representative of the sale of our transportation department. The remaining $250,000 is accumulated cash in the operations fund. This will increase our current balance from $3.5 to $4.5 million in the rainy day fund. Again, any movement within the rainy day fund, in or out, requires a resolution of the board. And that's what's in front of you.
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve the resolution to transfer to the rainy day fund. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Resolution to transfer reoccurring amounts from education fund to operations.
Yep, this is our resolution to transfer from the education fund to the operations fund. Again, up to 15% is allowed. That's what's in the resolution. I doubt that we do that full amount, but asking for the board's full authorization to transfer $409,000 monthly for calendar year '26 from education to operations.
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Overnight and out-of-state trips.
I bring before you 2 trips tonight, Fire and SOAR, both FFA trips.
Any questions about these trips? Can I have a motion to approve the overnight and out-of-state trips for FFA?
Motion.
Thank you. I will second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? All right, we have an executive session on August 25th at 8 a.m. and then State of the Schools on August 27th, which we hope people will be able to attend at 8:30, and then our regular meeting